Welcome back to another episode of the Blitz Break. I'm your host, Phil Rasmussen. Thanks for joining us again here on a Friday. As always, if you're not already following us and subscribe to the YouTube channel, jump on, take care of that now, or follow us on all of our other podcast platforms and social media. Excited to get rolling with today's episode. I've got to my right, two of the BVM collaborative partners in crime here, Justin Ingolia, our sales leader, and our resident Texan and absolutely terrifying shoe wearer that thankfully, Justin, I appreciate you putting some distance in between, but to kickstart our episode.
And did you notice that he said we're to his right?
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
I think so, right?
Yeah. What about your shoes?
They're white.
Shoes?
They're white.
Well, mine are kind of white.
Mine are clean though.
Yours look like they have seen more tape and glue than the average art project.
Super glue.
So.
You can get another month. You just put the super glue around, doesn't fall off.
Well, between that and we'll see how much the Texan in you comes out when we get digging in here. But
all right,
excited.
Well, before you introduce our guest, I think we should, when you say welcome to another episode, I think we should say like this is episode 78 or. We should have some kind of Roman numeral that no one can
number is it?
Understand.
It is episode 40 something right now.
I was going to say, Jocelyn, do you know? We're going back to the producer.
We're going to our
39? 39.
39.
Okay,
Episode 39.
Episode 39.
Welcome.
All right. So
okay.
I'm a roundup guy, so yeah.
40 sounds great.
We're near
40 sounds great, right? Right.
I tell everyone I'm 39, so that's not.
I've been 32 for 12 years, so.
I've been 29 for 20 years.
Have you? Oh, see, that's a really good one. Well, excited to bring on today's guest, our big-time top 1% producer, recent Sacramento resident, recently moved from Crescent City.
Yes.
We're recognized by, Scotsman Guide as the top female originator in the country, and top 1%, as I mentioned, producing branch manager, CrossCountry. Could be with Big Valley, but I love what you're doing with CrossCountry, and probably most importantly, proud mom.
Yes.
Super equestrian supporter.
Yes.
Love those barrel racing videos, and over 30 years in the mortgage experience. Tara Anaya, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's exciting to have you.
Yeah, I figured I'd come harass you guys a little bit. I've been watching you from afar, so super excited to be here. Any moment that I can have to harass Buzz is always a good thing, especially about the shoes.
Become the
I think
punching
that's one of the
bag.
things you and I share in common. It's just
people
fun.
love
It's
to
just
hate Texans.
fun.
That's what it is. The great state of Texas.
I'm surprised you don't have the cowboy boots. I should have brought you like my daughter's
The one day I didn't go
cowboy hat
country
or
on everybody.
something, right?
This has been a funny conversation lately because Justin had
Justin's
event.
transitioning into.
He's transitioning into a
cowboy.
cowboy. So Justin
I'm not
had
seeing
an event. I'm not seeing it. Oh, sorry. Me neither. But he had an event a couple of weekends ago.
Yes.
Where they had to dress up Western.
It was Western wear.
And he was scrambling to buy boots and a hat. And I still haven't seen you in your hat. But so he reached out. He was gonna go to one of the big boot stores, and he had ordered was going to order some boots,
Just regular boots. Yeah.
and then I found out that this was an old college buddy, fraternity brother, friend. I don't know if you've ever heard of Cavender's Boots. It's big in the southeastern United States.
Okay.
Mainly in Texas.
Big in Texas, but so then he had trouble getting the order because you can't.
Well, in California, you probably know if the equestrian nature of what you do. Apparently in California, you can't get any exotic skins, and I had found some black
You can't have them
python.
shipped in.
Can't have them shipped
Oh,
in.
you can't.
Especially,
I didn't know.
What was it that
My
you
daughter
were
doesn't order
trying-
those, so I don't know.
Python. It was python.
It was black
Oh.
python. Let's be clear. I want to make sure.
Oh,
to
you
set
were
the
really
record.
going fancy.
I was going to do it.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm going to have cowboy boots,
I mean, go big
figured
or go home,
That's what
right?
I thought.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dressing to impress.
Yeah.
Love it.
but I couldn't get them,
So, long story short, for a couple of weeks, we both kept missing. I was going to wear my boots, one day and put them up on the table, and
I wore mine last week.
And, he wore his last week, and I forgot, and so it's been a big deal. I have a million boots, but I just like my
love those
shoes.
tennis shoes.
I love these tennis shoes.
They're not going to be retiring anytime soon.
I actually, and I wouldn't say this to anybody but you, I've actually bought some others, and I'm kind of just waiting for.
How could you do that to us?
To wear them. That because I just don't want to. I don't want to cave.
He likes bothering me with them.
I don't want to cave.
Yeah, I can see that. I probably wouldn't do it either.
Yeah. Well, it's
so the reason we brought you on, we're going to talk about Buzz's problem with authority.
We can talk. We can talk about shoes for the next hour. That's a great subject.
This is fine.
I was going to say we're all out of our element in the shoe game you have.
You already told us that you don't want to wear your high heels anymore.
No, see, mine are flat.
Yeah,
they're flat.
So
I think COVID changed that. You get cozy. We were indoors for so long, and I used to wear like 4 inches all the time. Now, I mean, you might get a little wedge from me. I don't care.
Yeah.
They're not comfy anymore. I don't even know how I walked in those shoes for that many years. I'm like, no.
We all
I'm
have
all for comfort now. Maybe that's as I get older. That's
we evolve in kind of like what we're willing to put up with, or how much stress we allow ourselves to go through on what we're putting on to leave when we got so much on our minds, right? And you, I mean, I think to jump in, I think the really cool starting point for you is you're newer to Sacramento. You've been in Crescent City, major life changes on your front, built a great business out there. We started talking as you were getting ready to move quite a bit, and you've done one of the things that's very difficult to do in any profession, which is when you relocate, what does that look like as you assimilate? And can already tell by what you're doing in the community and the results that you're tapping into your business and your client base and your partners that are still present back where you were
I came from,
Crescent City, and building your new platform here. Talk a little bit about, your career journey. I mean, you've been in the business a long time, so a little about your history, maybe how you got into mortgage, and then kind of as you get towards the end, like the move to here and what that's been like.
Yeah, I started in Humboldt County. So I grew up in Eureka my whole life until I got married in 2021 and had to move to Crescent City, where my husband worked at the prison. So there was no commuting there. So I had to literally pack up my kids and move to Crescent City and start a business in a town where nobody knew me. My grandparents lived there, and so I had some family there, so that was helpful. I'd at least be close to family. So I dug myself into the prison and started being like the go-to for law enforcement loans and really digging into that profession. And divorce changes things. So here I am.
Yeah.
I was in Crescent City for about 4 years, and then COVID changed everything, where you don't really see a lot of people face to face anymore. Like, they don't want to sit across from you at a desk and get a loan anymore. They want to call. They want things that are easy. So it's a Zoom call, it's a Teams call, it's a phone call. They want to do things electronically. So COVID kind of changed that. So I was like, I'm not going to live here in this town anymore. Love all my friends that I made there. I still get a lot of business from Crescent City. Sure. It's a great beachfront town, super safe. Love the agents there; they're great. But I don't want to live my life there, until I retire. So my dad lives here in Roseville, and he's been bugging me for years and years and years to move here. So I was like, well, let's just pivot and do something different. So we moved last summer from Crescent City to Roseville, and nobody knows me here, so it's kind of like starting a business over. Yeah. So now I'm having to build my name again, where they don't know what I'm capable of or what my experience is or how I save deals all the time. Nobody knows that here, so it's been a little bit challenging having to start over and really trying to work with people that have had their lenders for years and years and years, and being okay with being the number 2 lender until I get to the number 1 spot. But, I still get a lot of business from back home. And I do loans all over California. I'm licensed in multiple states, but I just love this area. Like, I love the weather, and people don't realize, but same-day Amazon deliveries are life-changing.
Yeah.
I'm talking like 5 days turn time up
Yeah.
where I was from. And here, I could literally order something at night, laying in bed, and it's delivered to my house between 4 and 8 in the morning.
That's right.
I'm like,
Yep.
I don't ever have to leave the house. I don't even think I've gone to a grocery store. I've been to the Nugget once to get some sushi.
Yeah.
But other than that, I DoorDash everything. It's like so easy.
'Cause you can.
I don't have to go out and do Costco shopping. I've gone to Costco a few times, but like everything here is just so nice and so accessible, and everybody here is so nice. And I joined Sac Real Producers, which is, as you know, the top 500 agents. So I've got to meet a lot of really nice people with that group. So it's been really fun. Like, I love it here. I'll never leave. Like, I'll probably just sit here for the rest of my life and retire.
Well, it's exciting to hear how you've been able to acclimate. I'm not surprised, through our conversations. And I think, it was obviously a great move with Sac Real Producers. We just finished recording the feature episode that we do here every month with them now, with Katie and her group. And
I love Katie.
And Katie's amazing.
She is great.
And I think the thing that I find invigorating, and you and I have talked about this, is being around people who are intrinsically motivated and are driven. Like,
yes,
you have a fire inside of you to be successful that every time we talk, I'm like, I channel that, because that's how, someone in any relationship, you feed off each other. And I love
I'm
that.
always on hustle mode.
Yeah, I love that.
Like, what's the next thing? What can we do differently?
Keep pushing me.
How can we get more?
What's the next idea? What's the next thing I'm doing? Here's what I'm trying to do to add to this, to grow this. It's one of the things that I think is worth pointing out, because asking you this question and kind of framing it, 2026 right now, there is all sorts of, we talk about it, states of mind for originators and real estate agents about what the last 3 to 4 years have been like, and kind of where they are emotionally, psychologically, and then kind of almost a belief or lack thereof in their ability to go and crush it, to go be successful. And the consistent thing that I see from people that are successful is the intrinsic motivation and the, like, I don't care what obstacles are in front of me, I'm going to go be successful.
Yes,
is
100%.
There. So, one, we'll have to compliment you on that, but two, on the question front, what do you think differentiates the people like yourself that are in the top 1% and those elite producers from people that are not at that level, that want to achieve that? What would be your advice, or what would you tell them that they're maybe not thinking about doing?
I just don't listen to the negativity. So I hear people saying, oh, this is the worst year and real estate's so slow. It's only bad and it's only slow if you make it that way. Like, you have to get out there and get the business. There's tons of people that could go purchase a home right now, but they don't know how to do it. So go work the apartment complexes if you're a real estate agent. All those people need to buy homes. So there's different ways. Like, I keep hearing, oh, real estate's so slow right now, and I might have to get a second job. I'm like, I would never think that way. I'm going to go out and get more business. I'm doing so good this year. I've done so well last year. There's no time to be slow. There's no time to have an off year. And it's all about the relationship. You have to build relationships with people to be able to get business. They have to trust you. And I don't even have like a secret on how I do it. I'm just myself. I just want to, I want to develop that relationship with you. I want to be invited to your kid's birthday. I want to be invited to the housewarming party. I'm not in it to give you a rate and then do your loan and move on. If you're rate shopping me, go to somebody else. I'm not the one that you want to work with. I don't like those. I don't like the rate shoppers that, well, what rate can you give me? Well, there's 31 things that make up an interest rate. Like, I gotta get to know you. Like, where do you see yourself in this house in 5 years? You know, is this going to be an investment? Are you going to pass it to your kid in 5 years when you want to downsize to a 1-story because you're too old and you don't want the 2-story? Like, what does that next 5 years look for you? Like, it's really diving more into their story and what they have planned, where a lot of people are just like, oh, I'm the lowest rate in town, come to me. That's going to get you a one person that's never going to come back and never refer you. That's just not my way of doing business. And there's a lot of loan officers that are like that are like, they'll cut their commission down to make nothing, but they're not valuing their self and what they have to offer. And you have to bring value to those, clients or real estate agents, and that real estate agents need to trust you to know that you're taking really good care of their client, and you're not just here's your interest rate and this is it. No, here is, this is the program I recommend. This is what your payment's going to look like. This is why I recommend this with your situation, and blah, 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 blah. And then they trust you with your expertise and like what you recommend. So I focus more on relationships and really diving deep into a person's story rather than like the next deal I can quote the lowest rate down. I just don't operate my business that way.
Love it.
No, I think you touched on a super important part that we talk about pretty often, is being that consultant, being that expert, and providing that expertise is not only, I think, one of the best ways that you can conduct your business, but it's also, it opens up so many more avenues. Like what you said, there's so many things that go into an interest rate, but how long you're going to be in this house dictates the type of interest rate, the type of loan program or something like that we want to talk about.
Right.
And I want to give you the option. I want to consult you. I'm not going to beat you over the head with what I think is the right idea, but what I am going to do is I am going to give you options that would benefit you in a 5-year or 10-year plan. But if you're just talking about the lowest rate, that lowest rate could cost you $20,000 or $30,000, and you're out in 2 years, and you just wasted all this money to get a crazy low rate just so you can.
Right.
I make the joke so you can sound cool at a cocktail party.
Right.
Like
You're right.
No one knows that you paid $30,000 for that rate. Oh my God, you still got a rate at 4.25% now. In 2026. Yeah, it cost you $40,000. That was stupid, but
so stupid.
but if you're going to be in the house for 30 years, 40 years. Well,
yeah, you'll make it up in 12 years.
You'll be great.
Or 15.
You'll be fine. Maybe that $40,000 was worth the investment for you, but until you can actually consult them. And so I just think that it ultimately shows what your heart is, and you want to do what's right by your customers and not just,
yes,
just be a rate quoter.
I've really been on this fix lately since, I think it was last October. I went around California with a down payment assistance program.
Okay.
Called Golden State Finance Authority.
Yeah,
so they
them.
offer the down payment assistance programs for my first responders and nurses and, healthcare professionals, even county employees, all of that. So they offered this program. It's called the Recover California program, and it was providing money to people that were affected by the floods in 2023 and the fires in 2018. They replenished that fund. And so far this year, I've given out over $4 million in down payment assistance funds using that program. So that's another thing. I will really focus and be really, really good at one program and just go to town.
Absolutely.
Like I have people calling all over from California for these loans because I've done so many of them, and they help so many people. Like, they're changing people's lives. They're getting $300,000 for free to buy a house.
Yeah.
I mean, it's free after 5 years, but as long as you live in your home, 20% is forgiven every year up to 5 years. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So I love those first-time home buyers that don't think they can buy a home.
Yeah.
Because, one of the flood areas is Santa Cruz County. You know how expensive it is to live there. I mean, some of these people, they have 3 families living in one home just to be able to afford the rent.
Yeah.
And giving somebody the opportunity to take that $300,000 and purchase a home is amazing. Plus, English is not their first language. They don't trust people. They want it to be explained to them where they understand it. So I paired up with an agent over there that, speaks Spanish, she went to all the presentations with me. She was amazing. And we've really helped so many families, get keys to their first home like they would never have been able to buy in Santa Cruz County.
I mean, that's $4 million of impact, you know, that you've made on
and
people's
it's
lives.
amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
that probably never thought they could afford a home.
and those are like my biggest cheerleaders. Those people are going to go tell 10 people what they just achieved. And those 10 people, I hope, are going to call me.
Yeah.
At least that's the goal.
100%.
But
Well, it is, and I like the analogy or the statement that they'll tell 10 people, and that's a key. Even if they haven't bought a house yet, and I'll give you an example. Years ago, when I was producing, I used to
Back in 1862.
back in 18 something. I did a whole lot of first-time home buyer counseling and all of those kind of things. I was really involved in that, and I ran into so many people that weren't ready, couldn't qualify, whether it be credit or income or the amount of money for the down payment, or for one reason or another didn't qualify. And I started really kind of thinking about it. It was like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm running into 10 people, but only two of them can actually qualify. And I kept thinking, you know, how do I maximize the other 8? And, you know, I started doing a lot of credit counseling, a lot of, you know, I know you can't qualify right now, but if you're really interested in buying, how about we work together to position yourself for the future?
Yeah.
And people were going, well, yeah, I really do want to buy. And it's like, okay. So I would get them in a program. I'd take their loan application and we'd start, whatever the issue was, we'd start counseling on their credit. I'd sit down and do budgets. We'd pay off debts. And what I found is that pretty much anybody over a 2-year period, if you really work with them, there's a huge amount of people that will position themselves sometime over that 2 years to buy.
And you don't even need 2 years now.
Yeah,
I mean, if you really want to make a change, you could really get it up in 30 days.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that we would do. And what I found was that it would compound on itself. Not only would these people get themselves positioned or whatever and buy, but they'd tell their friends. It's like, yeah, I'm buying a house. And people go, you're buying a house? Yep, I'm working with a guy. I'm buying a house, and you know we've got a plan. And they'd tell their friends, and it's like, well, I want to buy a house, and oh, you got to call Buzz. And I had this pipeline of people that could feed me for years because I'm buying a house. Yeah, I'm on a plan, and I had a follow-up process with them, and so. Getting someone hope and giving them help and education, it expands. Yeah, because they'll tell someone.
They're literally your biggest cheerleader.
Yeah.
Well, and you do something that is one of the things that I think most successful originators do. You are direct to consumer with offering things with home buyer classes. Things where you open up and you educate people in the early stages. And, you know, I've been in the business 20 years and the answer has always been the same. There was a period of time where even if you had bad habits, there was so much business to go around that people were able to just fill loans. And I think a lot of people got that sense of this business is a lot easier than it actually is. But the truth is, in a normalized market, what you're doing to deliver value and educate your customers, your potential customers, your prospects well before they're actually ready to buy is how they are yours when the time comes for them to buy. The people that you touched on earlier that are on the lowest rate, like they are not doing any of the work up front to give value, right? And so the only thing they have to offer is rate because they haven't given that individual any value prior to that point. And we had someone here at APM, one of our top producers throughout APM, Jason Maida, who came on, and he just said it in a really poignant way that I know you'd agree with. He goes, if I get to the point where I'm ready to go on a transaction, and the first question that my customer asks me is about rate, I know I already failed to deliver on all the value items beforehand, because it should never be their first question if they've come through my channels and done the things that I've offered.
100%.
So he's like, it's either they're just that shopper and maybe they're not my type of client, or
it might not be a good
something
fit.
fell through the cracks on the value prop. So talk a little about the classes that you do and the things that you do to engage, because I think those are, you and I have talked about them, and we've talked about different ways you do it. I think it's a really great starting point to talk about how you connect with people and go about offering a value to that potential first-time home buyer and partners who are looking to generate connections as well.
Yeah, I've done an appraisal 101 class, because a lot of agents here, the houses are really nice, and we don't probably have a lot of appraisal issues. They're really nice. But where I come from, they're not very nice. And there is some, but I mean, it's a night and day difference. So back home, I've taught the Appraisal 101 class. And since my dad's a real estate appraiser, I've grown up around that. And I know what it takes to get an FHA loan to pass, and when chipped and peeling paint is okay. And, spray some Tilex on that mold in the bathroom before the appraiser gets there, or, like little things like that.
Right.
There's a lot of newer agents that don't realize, hey, on a 2-story home, you've got to have a carbon monoxide detector on both levels, like just little things like that, or what the minimum ceiling height is to count square footage, just little things like that. Is chipped and peeling paint okay if it's in a little 10 by 10, small area on an FHA? Yes. How many feet off the ground do stairs have to be for a railing to have to exist? Just little things like that. And that was one of the best classes. I think it lasted almost 2 hours with all the questions. So I have my number one appraiser that I love so much. I have him come with me, and that way they can ask him, how to price out an ADU, how do you look at that value when we're listing a property, things like that agents want to pick the appraiser's brain, because appraisers have been known to be like, oh, the appraiser and the lender can't talk. Nope, not at all. But it's like, no, we can talk. We just can't discuss value. Mm-hmm. We can be friends. My appraiser, he calls me every week, at least twice a week. We talk. We have a great relationship. Do we ever talk value? No, we can't do that. I don't really care. Like I never have to worry about, properties coming in at value. I mean, the market's so crazy. There's always going to be a comp, but there's a lot of agents that are new that don't realize, like, how do I price out an ADU if I got a listing? Or does solar bring value? Like, some people will be like, oh, that's got solar, that brings value. No, actually, solar brings no value to your home. So just little things like
Sometimes
that.
more hassles when you're trying to sell
yeah,
it.
and especially when you refinance. It's the worst.
Yes.
The worst.
Yeah.
Yes. Especially if your company's named Mosaic, who hasn't returned a call for 1 year for one of my clients on a refi. Yeah, don't get me started there. But
no, please go ahead.
This episode sponsored by Mosaic.
Mosaic. If you're listening, could you please call me, because my client really wants to refinance. Oh, that's another one. But yeah, so it's just like giving, information to agents to make them be better at their job. Because it was to the point where I got really tired of all these subject twos on the appraisal reports. I'm like, really, guys? Like, you can't double strap the water heater? That's like 101. Do you know what I mean?
When you were walking through to take the listing, you didn't notice that it wasn't strapped, and it was
or there's where's the smoke
sideways.
detectors?
You didn't notice that there were no carbon monoxide sensors or
well,
anything like that.
And I don't think real estate agents recognize the time frame that it adds. Just those little things where it's like,
or the extra cost.
The extra cost of having to send them back out again.
$250 to send the appraiser back out there. $175. They put their own price on it
at their time when they're available.
Right.
They're not making as much money as when they would be doing an appraisal.
No.
So it's like it's a back burner type of thing.
Seems like, oh, we need to redo that inspection.
Yeah.
We're supposed to close this afternoon.
Yeah, it feels like that.
Did we get the inspection? What?
Yes.
Yeah, we were called. Can you go out today?
And it's really it really comes down to like loan officers need to educate themselves on appraisal requirements and really get to know that, because even if you have like a reconsideration of value, like I just had a newbie appraiser in Humboldt County put my appraisal at a declining market. I'm like, what? You're like the only one in town that thinks it's in a declining market. It is clearly not a declining market. So like, he's brand new. Like, and then we wonder why nobody has him on your panel. But for some reason, my appraiser must not have been available. And by chance, they did an off-market appraiser, and it was him. And I'm like, now I have to educate him on why Humboldt County is in an appreciating market and why it needs to be flipped. And I don't know. It's just, appraisals are, hard. And it really, agents don't know that it really makes a difference on who you work with and what appraisers are on that preferred panel. It might not be as bad around here, but in small towns, you don't have very many appraisers to pick from.
That's the problem, is the limited number of appraisers that are available.
You really, before you accept an offer as a listing agent, knowing who that buyer is working with and knowing what that lender has on their appraisal panel.
It has an impact on your deal.
Because let me tell you, if you had that appraiser that just marked my client in a declining market on an FHA loan, that FHA appraisal stays on that property for 6 months. So now your seller is screwed for 6 months. So it's just little things like that on agents just need to know how important it is to work with people that have a good appraisal panel, because that appraiser is more important than the underwriter. If they could make or break your deal.
Big time.
A lot of times here, our loan officers that are basically have their business here are kind of spoiled, because there are appraisers stumbling over themselves here.
Yeah, there's so many to pick from here.
And you're bringing up something that people have to be aware of in these small towns. As our clients move out, and we have last week we had an out-of-state appraisal that we were chasing that literally was one of those situations where probably was only one appraiser in that little town, and that was the one that got assigned. And what happened? He took off on vacation, or
I forget,
or something. This was just last week. It was in Ohio or some little town, and literally for weeks, the appraisal management company was calling, wasn't returning phone calls.
Yeah, he's like, no, I'm out. Peace out. I'm on vacation.
Like, dude, we have a
I'm the only one in this town who's going to fire me.
Yeah, exactly. I can go on vacation if I want to, because you have to wait till I get back.
That's right.
But it is a lot harder in small towns. So so that's why it's harder when you're working with a mortgage broker. You don't have a preferred panel.
There's no
so they
control.
have a disadvantage.
Sure.
Big time.
You accept an offer from a mortgage broker, they have whoever the company they're sending the mortgage to, who's ever on their panel, and and so they're going to get the guy that's that marks a declining market.
Well, and I'll give you one that hits close to home for us here, right? So I've done a lot of business in my career up in Tahoe, Truckee, Donner, up in the mountains, and had some great groups, people I love to this day, that did business, and I remember them telling me early on about the issue that it's close enough in proximity that in busy markets that appraisers from Sacramento, other parts of town, will drive up and accept it and come up there, but they have no clue about the Tahoe Truckee market,
about the market,
and how to properly value homes and understand the difference, and so there's just a, like, whatever you want to call it, like a series of bodies of failed transactions that have been created over the years in that market, with out-of-town appraisers coming in, putting all sorts of wonky, bizarre things into transactions. So it's really, really specific that it's got to be inside this bucket of appraisers that live in the community or
know the area. It's so important.
And if you let them in, and it's almost better where we'd rather wait 10 days or 8 days and make sure it's one of them than have somebody who's willing to drive up and can do it tomorrow.
Yes.
And knowing that and managing, because there's a reason they can, and because they're coming in from out of town. And there's, small towns, and there's also, especially during the busy markets when everybody was scrambling, I think it was even more prevalent, and appraisers were, of course, the fees were going up. But I think it is, even in big cities, when you start to get to outskirts and you get these different pockets, if the appraiser doesn't understand the nuances within a community, like this house is on the lake, that's obviously going to be very different than the house that's a mile off of the lake, even if they're identical. One is sitting on the lake and one's not. Like,
yes,
logic would tell you that's obvious,
right.
but an out-of-town person wouldn't necessarily know how to create that proper valuation. And so I've seen a lot of those over the years too, and I 100% agree, hear what you're saying, and think that having pros and experience and flexing on that is the value that over the years, getting good at communicating that, being willing to deliver that up front, that's the thing that I think some loan officers and real estate agents during the boom, where it was like you had more business coming at you than you knew how to handle,
Yes.
kind of forgot all of the prep work of showing your value, educating in advance. And some have really kind of gotten back on track and are back on the train tracks, riding, doing what they're supposed to. And then there are others who you talk to and you can tell, oh, you're still doing the wait till the phone rings, and you're wondering why you're struggling. And it's because you've not been doing any of this stuff in advance.
Yes.
Where people are recognizing that you're the expert. You're not an order taker. You're the expert.
Yeah,
you're the consultant.
you have to be really good at one thing and then just go, like with the appraisal class. Like, I feel like I'm very good at appraisals, all because I have my dad also that has helped me for years and years. But like, I'm pretty darn good at appraisals. Like, I just had a VA loan I had to save from Veteran United that couldn't do it, and I'm looking at it wondering why they couldn't get this veteran a loan. And it was a 3-unit property. The kid's 18 years old. Nobody would take him serious because he's 18, currently in the military in Korea, and his family is going to live in some of the 2 units, and he's going to live in the 3rd unit. So I'm looking at the pictures online, right? Super smart at 18. At 18 years old, they're usually trying to buy the best vehicle that they can look cool in. Not this kid. He is going to buy a house. And I'm like, we're going to make this happen. So I'm looking at this, and the 3rd unit doesn't have a stove in it. So, because I'm looking at the appraisal, and the appraiser is giving rents, but then they decline it because the 3rd unit, they called it an art studio. Well, you have a bathroom in there. There's a shower. Somebody's living in there, but they have a hot plate and a sink that looks like a sink that you would have in a garage. So it's not really like, doesn't look like a kitchen, but it looks like they're trying to get some rents out of this little unit, and they're going to collect $500 a rent because there's a shower and whatever, but there's a little sink and a shelf to wash your dishes on. And that was pretty much it. And I'm like, you guys, you're never going to get this to go through as a 3rd unit. You have to have a stove. It's a requirement for VA. You have to have a stove. And this doesn't look like a kitchen. So I want you to get on Facebook Marketplace. I want you to find yourself a used stove and a used kitchenette. Like, I don't care if you have to go to Home Depot and get the little units. They're very cheap. But this is what we're going to do. And it's got this, this flooring, this trim needs to be fixed. And there needs to be some flooring in there. A rug is not going to go over, wood sub panel like on the floor. We're not going to do that. You're either going to have to paint it to seal it to make it pass, or put in some carpet. So they did. They went and put carpet in, put the stove in, had the appraiser go back out there. He pissed and whined the whole time, having to go redo it again because he wanted to, no, it's zoned for 2 units. Nope. Every property in California is zoned 1 to 4 unit. And if it's existing on there, we're going to make it work. And he did it. He made it a 3rd unit, and we got it to close while he's in Korea. And by the way, Korea loan docs take about a week and a half to get back, just so you know.
Yeah.
That was the worst.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh. Yeah.
But hey, we got it to work.
It's those kinds of things that sets a loan officer apart. Doing what needs to be done in order to close the deal.
Yes.
And over the years, it's we've done everything from, painting a house, showing up.
Yes.
I literally
half
the tools that I have, I bought because I have a actual professional spray unit to spray a house. Because one weekend it was like we gotta get this done.
You just have to get it done. Whatever it takes to get the deal done, we're gonna get it done.
Yeah, or you have some dry rot. Well, I know how to fix that. I got a saw. So that's the stuff that really sets loan officers apart.
Yeah.
The education, the ability to make something happen, to listen and look and say, how do I solve that issue? and be that problem solver. That's what agents really. That's what makes a relationship forever.
They will forever be grateful that I got this done. Like,
absolutely.
The clients are so ecstatic. Like, he's 18 years old. He would never have thought he would have been able to buy a $645,000 house.
And you're getting
at
early.
18.
That's a lot of repeat business down the road with an 18-year-old.
And all of that probably, probably didn't put really fancy carpet in. Probably didn't do a lot on the kitchen.
And the agent, he did it. He was in there drywalling and texturing. He was in there laying carpet.
Exactly. Over the years, done so many of those things, whether it's trimming a tree or all of those kind of things.
All of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some other things that we know you've done that we can't say on the
we
podcast.
can't say on the podcast, but anything to close a deal.
You've probably scraped a lot of paint in your years, huh?
Even in my position here at Big Valley, because I'm not a producer, but working with the loan officers and transactions, literally have gone out and trim trees, cut bushes back so that like on a FHA appraisal, the guy has to be able to inspect all four sides of the building. Well, you have a huge bush that you can't see up against the house. I've got a trimmer.
You got to do something, yeah.
I've got a trimmer.
Are they
and a
really
pickup
making
truck.
you cut that back?
Oh, yeah, so that they could have access to the side of a house. Or, we have a limb that's...
I've never seen that one before.
Yeah,
Well, that may have been back in 1984 when you did it.
And then the rules were a little stricter.
There's so many different things like that,
Yeah. Back to me being 39, I wasn't born yet.
That was my birthday. No, the
84?
willingness to do that. I want to throw this out there because one of the things that we do so much here is an obsession around value, right? And generating value is about what's of value to the intended audience, right? The client, your partners, your loan officers, vendors that we have partnerships with through our Give Value program. There's an important element of understanding what's valuable to them and not inserting your own subjective belief of what value is, right?
Right.
That's really key.
Because anybody can make you a flyer.
Exactly.
Anybody can quote an interest rate.
Yeah.
You have to be different.
And you got to give them, and it's got to be something like you can tell that's meaningfully helpful to them. But on the flip side, when you know that you're delivering value, and you and I have had this conversation several times just over, the last year or so, right? The leverage is something that can switch. Like instead of being there sitting, going hand out, like I'm looking for referrals, like you're driving a partnership and a relationship. So tell me, what do you look for in partnerships, in your realtors and the ones that you cut off if they're not, like what do you consider a good partner as a real estate financial planner? What is the characteristics and qualities you look for when you say I'm going to work with you and you're going to get all that value I'm delivering? How do you evaluate those individuals?
It's not, you don't want to work with every person just because they have a real estate license. Sometimes it's not a good fit. I've actually met some agents here that have given me business, and you really want to work with agents that really screen their clients. You're giving me somebody that has a 500 credit score that is currently late on their mortgage that wants to buy another house. Like, I guess it's just knowing what kind of questions that you ask your potential client before you send them to a lender would be helpful. Because although some of the I won't mention names, but this one agent has literally just referred me crap after crap after crap. And I'm like, okay, this is probably not a good fit because I can't help all of the clientele that she's working with. Love the hustle, but it's...
I understand.
Yeah.
You have to know, you've got to, as a real estate agent, you've got to ask these questions like, are you, currently working right now? You have, and if they know, oh no, I just became self-employed. Well, real estate agents need to know that, like, you got to at least have self-employment on the books for 1 year before we can help you. but it's like, oh, hey, I think that's great that you're self-employed. Let's connect in a year from now, and I'll touch base with you in the year, to see how your business is doing, whatever, and still keep that lead. But like right now, we can't help you. But it's just kind of having them, ask those questions. And really screening their clients before they send the referral as well, which is always helpful. Yeah. But I like to work with people I want to hang out with. Yeah. I've met an agent here, and she invited me over for Easter dinner. Like, I love her. Like, she's met my family. Like, she comes to my house for pool days. Like, I just love her. And it's Trisha Rossi at Sotheby's. She's like my favorite. Love her. But it's like you meet people that you become friends with, and you're like, these are my people. Yeah. And that when you meet them. And there's some people where you're like, I don't think I would ever want to work with you, But there's so many agents around that, you're not for everybody and they're not for you. Yeah. And it's just kind of meeting that person and really seeing if you would work really well together and just kind of mesh well, I guess. And I like to work with people that match my hustle as well. I don't want to work with lazy agents. I want somebody that's hungry, that likes to go get the business, like Trisha. She's a hustler. Like she's amazing. Just being around her, you are who you hang out with. So if you want to be that next level and you want to do more business and you want to double your business, you need to surround yourself by those kind of like-minded people, and you will be that next person. So that's kind of how I base my business off of. I'm not going to hang around with the lazy and the ones that don't have the drive.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, I love that. And I say it all, I say it all the time. I think, really strong relationships involve a personal relationship, a professional relationship, and then there's a motivation incentive component that makes you both want to work together. But you got to have really all three for a really good long-term relationship. But I know it's a personal trigger for me that I respect people. If you're at a place in life where you're not motivated, or you don't have to do things, or you're not waking up with a fire in your stomach to go be successful, we're not all in the same place in life as far as what we need. We're also not all driven the same way. But in terms of creating a successful team, when you're driven, surrounding yourself and being in an environment where you're getting that same energy back is where the magic happens. It's like, I'm so driven. Before you got up this morning, I thought about these 30 things and I'm going, and then you're going, I did these, oh my goodness, let's do, and you see that thing build, versus when you're dealing with, partners, and it's, we talked about this, and you haven't done anything, and I've done these 20 things, but you're still back here. You can tell pretty quickly, like, okay, you and I are probably not gonna mesh, because I'm trying to get somewhere a lot faster than you are. You want to work with somebody where you complement each other. Yep. You just you already know that if you refer somebody to her, she's already putting you on a group chat, a text. How can we connect? It's not like, oh, hey, I sent you this buyer. They said they haven't heard from you yet. Often that happens. Believe it or not, it happens too often. Yep. But it's you refer somebody, vice versa, on the one that you feel is going to take care of your client the best. You want to give that 5-star service. That's the goal at the end of the day. 5 stars. I want that survey at the end of 5 stars. If I don't feel like I'm going to get that, 5 stars, I'm going to do whatever it takes during the whole close of escrow to get those 5 stars. And you want somebody to feel good, and you want them to love working with their agent and love working with their lender. And just have a good experience, all around. All the way around.
Can I go backwards? Can I ask? What got you into the industry? I know you had mentioned your dad was a real estate appraiser, or is a real estate appraiser.
I got him into that, by the way.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Oh, well, you got him in? Okay.
Yes.
I assumed it was.
That's how good of a salesperson. You even got your dad.
Yeah. My dad was in corporate world in Disney.
No way.
Yeah. And he sees me doing well in loans, and I'm like, Dad, why don't there's not enough appraisers around. There really isn't, and all of the ones that are older are, retiring and stuff. And so I think he's been an appraiser for 20 years or so now.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But I just made him, he works for me now. I made him my reverse mortgage specialist. So he went out and got his license to do loans. Absolutely. And now he's going to do reverse mortgages, which is great because He loves to talk to people and loves to help people, and he loves the reverse mortgage product. So that is his specialty. Like, he loves that. So
100%.
So yeah, so now he's with me again. But yeah, getting into this, like right out of high school, I got into banking.
Okay.
So I just worked my way up in the banking world and, was ops manager, new accounts and personal loans. And I was I dabbled in commercial lending for 4 years. I was in the SBA department. So we did business stuff. And then when I bought my first house, the mortgage loan officer that I worked with offered me a job. And I was like, sure. And at that time, when I bought my first house, I got off work at the bank at 5, and then I worked until 9:30. I did loan signings on loan docs. So I was a notary, and I went around all evening. Every night, I was out for 4 hours doing loan signings. So I was familiar with the docs.
Yeah.
And then got into mortgage that way.
Yeah.
So that's how and then I'm here.
I love a loan officer story, because it feels like everyone stumbles into this profession. It's never anything that anyone sets out really to do. It's always those stories.
I was supposed to be a court reporter. That's what I started going. Yes, I was supposed to be a court reporter. I get bored easily, so I'm like, what kind of job would interest you that's going to not be boring every single day?
Well, there's so many facets.
A court reporter. I want to.
Did you ever make it into court reporting?
No. I got into this.
On the
I loved
OJ
it.
trial?
Right? I was just out there, just typing away. No.
Can you do the type? Can you do that? Because it's like a special.
I had the machine, but I think I maybe did 1 year. I don't even remember. That's so many years ago. Yeah, sure. But no, I didn't. Once I figured it out, I'm like, I probably should have looked at this, going before I started school, but like it didn't make enough money for me. So I'm just like, nope, I want something more. So then I just kept, going up the ladder and finance stuff. So here I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. Like you said, how most of the people in mortgages got there. And never, ever have I ever talked to someone and they said, oh yeah, I went to college to
be a loan officer.
Never. That's what I wanted. It's always a situation where, well, I was going to go do something else. And then I wound up working at a bank or I was getting a mortgage and the mortgage broker said, hey, you should work for me. And I said, okay. It's always been something like that.
Minus one exception. Family. When the mom or the dad is in and then the kids get just groomed into the family business.
Well,
that's about the only one.
Yeah.
I know. My daughter that's 15, or she's about to be 15, she is like, what do you want to do when you, like my 16-year-old, she just turned 16 this past weekend. She wants to be a large animal vet because she's the horse girl. Like she eats, sleeps, and breathes horses. So that's what she wants to do. And I'm like, great, you can pay for your own vet bills. In fact, you can do it yourself because horses are so expensive. Yeah. And so my 14-year-old, I'm like, well, what do you want to do? Because, I have them homeschooled so they can dual enroll at a college and get credit for college classes and high school classes. What kind of things interest you? And she's like, I just want to do what you do, Mom. I'm like, oh, you want to be a loan officer? Yeah. So who knows? Maybe she will, but
maybe
things will change. But
we have to go there. So elaborate here on your foray. I mean, you're in the world of barrel racing with your daughter. So talk about that. I mean,
that's awesome. Like, I want to hear about that. As an emerging
as a mom,
cowboy.
Like
right.
You sent me a video of the one where she took the spill and got back up.
Oh, when her horse slid around the barrel and she fell on the ground.
You sent me the video and looking at it, and I was like, oh, that's one of those moments. I think about all the times as a kid where I'm like, yes, they fell and they got up. That's yes.
But that's scary.
It's scary, but when you see him get up, there's that sense of like, oh, I see the toughness. She got up and.
Well, this is the crazy thing about that is when you are riding barrels, they have and people don't know this, but their feet are rubber banded around those stirrups. So because you don't ever want to lose your stirrups when you're going that fast. So when she went around that barrel, her horse slid because the ground was so slight. Literally, you guys haven't seen the video, but the horse was on her side with my daughter. And
her leg being stuck in the stirrup.
And then she jumps up this was in Gilroy. We drove all the way to Gilroy for, 21 seconds or 20 seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of rodeo. You drive so far to for 18 seconds. But when she got up, her foot was still stuck in the stirrup, and then the rubber band broke off and the horse took off. But I mean, there was just one here at Triple Crown in Lincoln where this little girl, I think she was maybe like 8 or 9 years old, her rubber bands didn't break, and that horse she was upside down and it was running around. I mean, it was the scariest thing. Looking back at it, it's a dangerous sport.
I have a story to tell you that most people have never heard me tell. So I grew up here in Sacramento. My grandparents on my mom's side lived in Fair Oaks.
I feel like we're going to hear about cowboy boots in a minute.
No cowboy. We didn't even know. I did. I rode Western until I was like 11. I rode in shows because my mom rode horses throughout Fair Oaks.
What?
Like literally, because they were in old Fair Oaks before Fair Oaks was built out. My mom used to ride around the river, so she was big into horses. My grandmother. So I was in Rancho Cordova, did lessons, did the whole 9, did Western, trained on horses. Did it with a friend of mine, and did it until sports kind of took over. But I definitely have a story of being in one of the training corrals and riding around on a horse and it getting spooked, and it bucked me, and my left foot got caught in the stirrup, and I'm hanging upside down, holding on to the strap. And then that horse got wild, kicked me square in the back of the head and split my head open in 2 places.
Now it makes sense.
Makes so much more sense now.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And and then the whatever you want to call it, the velocity of the kick to my head moved me and dislodged me from the stirrup. So then I was dislodged from the horse, and I was dazed, and I stood up, and I remember looking at my grandmother and my mom and the trainer. And I was like, I'm fine. And they were all like, no, the F you're not. And they're looking at my head just pouring blood everywhere out the back. And I'm like, I'm fine. And they're like, no, you're not. So they ended up, putting me in the back of a car, stitching me up. It was 38 stitches in the back of my head.
Wow.
Broke like the hoof, the way it hit. Split my head in 2 places, and so I have a couple scars that whenever my hair is super short, you still see them.
Really?
Your reaction's the same reaction my wife's, and everybody says, like, no wonder you're a dumbass. Like, that's pretty much.
Did the manager at Target come out and keep you off of the little horse on the
the plastic horse? That's what he's talking about.
Is this what you're talking about?
That's what happens when you put 2 quarters in.
I know, 2 quarters.
Is legit.
All of a sudden.
That's crazy.
This is legit. I've never seen my grandmother, who was really a tough woman, had, battled cancer and aneurysms and stuff, and like, never showed fear. From Wisconsin. I laugh all the time because the word wash, I never say wash, I say warsh because she used to say warsh like Wisconsin all the time. But only time in my life I ever saw her look terrified was.
Well, then you probably go into shock when you're seeing that too.
And I'm not a good blood person. I can, like, you can break my arm and I can finish a basketball game, but the minute somebody starts to try to fix it, the doctor, then I become
Pale.
The world's biggest weenie, and I pass out. Like, split my lip, I'm fine, I'll finish the game. Go to stitch it, so by the time we were in the car, I was fine. I kept saying, you guys are being dramatic, and I'm like 11 and I have no idea. My grandma's like, no, you're not. My mom's a critical care nurse, screaming. Literally at one point she said, Phil, shut up, you're not fine. Because I just kept insisting. And then when we got to the hospital and they started stitching me up, then it was mortifying to me, because now, like, I knew they were doing needles and they were stitching. But that experience of getting bucked off, my left foot being trapped in the saddle, holding on and getting kicked. Yeah, I was like 10 years old.
Yeah.
And I still rode. I have first place medals of riding in the Western.
No, you don't. You've never told us.
Most people don't know this because I was really good at sports, and it kind of took over, and then it just. But when we go ride horses here and there, I like go to Hawaii, go places, I always enjoy it. But I'm like, at 6'7", I don't think the horses enjoy me on there as much anymore. But I can relate to the getting kicked off, and I have that experience for sure.
It's a great sport, a very expensive sport. Very. We just bought another horse. But I always need a write-off on my taxes, so there's always that.
Is that
But-
the name of your horse? Right off.
And no, not this one. But I should name one that way. Right off.
You're welcome.
Either that or depreciation.
Yes,
Funding Central.
literally. And it's kind of funny because I'm not a horse person at all. I couldn't tell you anything about them. I'm literally just the Uber driver.
Yeah.
I am a little bit too bougie for that lifestyle. And that's my daughter's passion.
I love that.
And my other daughter, my 14-year-old, she used to ride, but her horse is a little older now. And she might get back into it, but my 16-year-old, she eats, sleeps, and breathes those horses, and that is her life. It's nice being homeschooled because she'll go out. I drop her off in the morning and I pick her up in the afternoon. She can advance so far in schooling where she can ride her horse every single day. She's already done her whole semester in 1 month this year. Like, it's just, yeah. So she has more time for that. You know, I always look at it, it's like, you know, I'll support your hobby, even though it's an expensive one. And there could be a lot more worse things that kids could be doing.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
I mean,
There's probably nothing better than rodeos and that whole lifestyle.
the responsibility of
And the
taking care of an
kids.
animal and
the
and
compassion. I
yeah,
mean,
that
she's
is
out there giving those
hugely
horses baths
beneficial.
every week. We have our horses at a really big ranch out in Lincoln, and whether there's roping, they do stuff every night they have a huge indoor arena, and they've got like baby goats out there. Like she gets to experience everything. There's cows, and I swear there's like a baby goat, you know, born every single day, and it's like just going out there and snuggling them, and you know, it's just a different lifestyle, but it's great for your kids to learn, you know, compassion and growing up around those animals.
Understanding animals.
I
yeah.
always support that's what she wants to do. I will drive her. She wants to drive all over the country to do rodeos, though. It's
You should get her a nice pickup truck with a cab
no.
on it,
She's-
a little cabin on the back, and
she gets her
or
license.
get her one of those horse trailers that have beds in them now.
I know she wants to upgrade to one of those. I'm like, oh gosh, more money. But yeah, she has she got the truck. She gets her license, I think, in about 10 days or so. So she can drive herself to rodeos.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
But
you
it's-
have the thing that's the most like. I mean, with the three of mine, the thing you want most is for them to find something they love so much that it gives them the right channeled motivation. It helps them make the decisions when they hit the fork in the road of maybe I'm feeling like blowing off some steam because I'm young, versus this when they have something that they care so much about,
Oh yes.
then it helps them make the right decisions. And I always say it doesn't matter what it is, you want your kids to find that. I mean, I've said it many times. For me, I wanted to be a Division I athlete. I wanted to play professionally. Every decision that I ever made, that fork in the road was like, I don't want to make a decision that will mess this dream up. Helped me. And I knew a lot of people, a lot of my friends that didn't have that. And then they found themselves going off because there was nothing to lose. So her having something she loves so much,
Yep.
that is, from a parent perspective, pouring into it, it's the chance to give them an opportunity to develop all the right habits, because those right habits come from having something that you wake up in the morning excited to do.
Yes.
When you don't have a purpose or reason, you know, that they say that what the devil is in the idle hands, and you know, when your kid has nothing that they're passionate about, that's worrisome. So that's why I
Yeah.
tell my kids all the time is I don't care what it is. I want you to find something you love and will do without me here, anybody like that you are so excited about.
Yeah.
And you have that, and that's really cool. Now
And
it's an expensive habit.
It
but
is, and it's pretty
awesome.
funny though, because you know everybody at the rodeos are all dressed Western, right? So they're in their boots and like they just came off the farm. And then there's me who pulls up in my Lululemon leggings and my Louis Vuitton purse, and people probably just laugh. They're like, "Hey, props to
love
her for being here for her daughter." And it's
Yeah.
been like that since, oh gosh, I think it's pretty much my fault. I sent her and my two girls to a horse camp for the summer. It was every day, and she was like in 6th grade or 5th grade. And ever since that horse camp, it like changed her. So it was my fault.
Yeah.
Ever since the horse camp, that's all she wants is her own horse, her own horse, her own horse. So she ended up getting it and then been competing since she was in, I think it's 5th grade is when her first year of high school rodeo was. But-
It's amazing to see some of these really competitive, high level competitive, you know, barrel racing. sometimes you see these little girls that aren't much taller than this.
They're so good and fast.
And they're good.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're looking at them sitting in that saddle, barely big enough to get their legs, into a stirrup, and they crush it. Some of these little girls are just into it.
Yes, and you're not going to win the money that's going to pay for the sport either.
Oh.
I think the most she's ever won in a rodeo was like $1,100 or something like that, which was really, really good. Like that was probably her biggest one. But they're normally like checks for like $150 and maybe $262, I think was the most recent one. So she does win them, but it doesn't, it doesn't pay for the horse.
It's a lot in that world. It's a lot like some of the other things where the sponsorships.
Are you offering to sponsor her, Buzz?
Well,
I love it.
But the sponsorships is where a lot of them get it.
Yes.
Sponsorships from places like Boot Barn or Cavender's or all of the different Western wear and some of the saddle makers and those sponsorships is so huge in the rodeo scene now.
Yeah, that's my cousin. He rides in the NFR. And so he gets some big sponsors and stuff.
Yeah, well,
which is very helpful because going all around the United States, he needs that. It's costly.
You see it with these bull riders and some of these guys now. They look like NASCAR drivers. Their shirts they have a list of sponsors down the back. So it's important.
Yes, yeah. I agree.
Well, since you guys have all validated your Westernness, and I'm the one that's the burgeoning cowboy, I feel like I need to validate the fact that I own one cow. I have one cow with my brother-in-law, so I own one head of cattle. So
one cow.
That is a start of
but that is how
I feel
it
like the cow needs a friend. How come you don't have two cows?
We have two cows, but I don't own that.
Are we talking about a cow or a bull here?
Well, shoot, you can't put me on this.
Well,
spot.
I'm just saying because we've established that if Buzz is hungry, he would happily eat Rocky Mountain oysters.
Oh, that's right. All right.
You can
I see where
serve
you're
it
going
him.
with this.
Yeah, and we got grief because people are going, those are not cows. And it's like, okay, we're just talking generic here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I asked him, what's the worst part of it? Like, what's the worst part of a cow you've ever eaten? Right, a while back, and of course, I already kind of accepted that before I asked the question that there was a likelihood that he was going to say like cow testicles or something like that. So of course that was his answer, Rocky Mountain oysters and all of that. And so we had this funny dialogue, and then the comments in the YouTube, cows don't have testicles. There was this endless, and we're like, we know it's a bull, but the question was cow. But like, it was hilarious how many people just felt, just to point out the cows, like the correction need. But
I couldn't tell you either.
Yeah, listen, I certainly am not PC enough to have gone, what's the worst part of a bull you ate? We were starting a convo, but I do think what you just touched on about the monetization and kind of the doing it for the love and the upside of it, there's a lot of paths, even in today's world that are so different that your kids being good at it and even filming it and then turning it into like YouTube channels and teaching. There's just all these crazy ways where the world engages in different formats that I'm still trying to wrap my head around, because like my kids all have different conversations around how they would expose or use YouTube and what's your take, both for your kids and from a business perspective, about all the current existing formats and forums to engage with people, and what do you see as your focus going forward and how you connect both through social media content and the personal stuff?
I don't really pay for advertising. I don't advertise. I think the only advertisement I have is in the Sac Real Producers magazine. That's the only one I pay for. So I don't pay for advertising, but social media is free. So I'm on TikTok. I'm the mortgage queen on TikTok. And then I'm on Instagram and Facebook. So those are like my three platforms. Probably the craziest place I've ever gotten loans from is Tinder. I've made a lot of money on Tinder.
You did it. You brought it up.
Yes.
Let's go. We're going into this.
Oh my God.
Let's go into this.
I have made a lot of money on Tinder. Not joking.
Okay,
I mean, this is not recent.
That sounded a little
Oh
weird.
yeah, that's not the clip we need. That's not the clip we want. We need the context. Doing loans based on clients who've got off of Tinder.
Yes, I'm so
Yes.
glad. I was gonna make you say it, but I am so.
I knew where you were
stoked that
going with
went.
this. But
Okay, I need to hear about
so
this.
this was prior to like my marriage and everything. But I used to be on Tinder. That's where I met my husband, actually.
Okay.
But I lived in Humboldt County. It's the Emerald Triangle. Everybody went there to grow weed. Everybody did. And so I know everybody in Humboldt. So I know if I'm on Tinder and I see somebody that I don't know, that means you're here to buy property, because everyone was trying to buy property to grow weed back in the day, like everybody.
Look
so
at you.
I literally am like, oh, I'll swipe right on him. I don't know him, and he's here visiting for a reason. And it's always the same reason. They're here to buy property. They're here to look at property. And whether they buy a cannabis property, they always buy a house to live in, because they don't live at the property where they make their money. And so I would just meet a lot of good friends on there. I don't think I've ever dated anybody on there besides my husband that I met on Tinder. I don't think so. But I've met a lot of good people on there, a lot of friends. And I always just say, like, what are you? I don't know who you are. Like, I've never seen you around. Are you here visiting? And it's always like, oh yeah, I'm here looking for property. I'm like, oh great, you're at the right spot. And then all of a sudden now we're like friends. I'm still friends with a lot of them to this day that I met off Tinder. But I've done their loans, I've done their referrals, that they've given me, and I've probably made over $100,000 in loans off Tinder easily.
Well, we had Joellen Brooks on as was she our first guest? I think she was, or one of the first.
One of the first few, yeah.
And she found a market on Nextdoor. That's how she gets a majority of her business, is on Nextdoor. That app.
How funny.
And
a lot of the apps you just don't even
The
realize.
ones that aren't really main, but this one is just awesome, because it's like
that's not a typical.
not the place that you
Well,
would
because that
think of for
Tinder's
that.
always got the
It's so brilliant.
That's the hookup app. But I'm like, really, it's not the hookup app.
No.
I'm here to make money.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about dating anybody right now. I'm not
How we
in a
clip
place
that?
to date anybody
we
right
will
now.
clip
I
this
don't.
in a good way for you, because
Yeah.
that could get
ad right
clipped.
there for Tinder.
Right?
I'm not interested in dating. I'm here for the
Yeah, I'm
I'm here to make money, baby.
Exactly. I thought maybe I'll go on there again and see what I can do in this area. Who knows? But I don't know. I'm not.
So
I'm not
different
any.
hook here, though. I mean,
There might be a different clientele here. I don't know.
That's so awesome.
But yeah,
No.
back then it was like that was the big thing. Everybody was moving to the Humboldt County to have a cannabis property, and there was a lot of people I swiped right on that I got loans out of on Tinder.
Yeah.
A lot.
That's the clip. You nailed it. Right?
That's
Yes.
so
That I got
legendary.
loads out of.
I
Yep.
swiped right and got a loan.
I did.
That is
I
a
swiped
different
right.
type of swiping right than
maybe
we
we
are.
need to come up with an app like that. Swipe right, get a loan.
Buzz, maybe we
Right?
need to put you on Tinder.
Let's-
Swipe right Tinder buzzer. Although I don't know if Tammy would be all on
There's
board
a-
with that, so
There's
no knocks on
a
that.
really
But
good age range from 65 to 85 that I would probably kill it in.
Yeah.
You probably would. Just make sure you put a picture of those shoes on there.
Yeah. There you go.
Right here.
Nice call back.
Right here,
Well
baby.
done.
Right
Well
there.
done.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, someone's going to look at those shoes and they're going to swipe right every time.
Yeah.
Right?
Every time.
Matter of fact, this could be my profile picture.
You should. Yes.
Right
Look at
on.
your shoes.
Actually, you know what? You should be like, what is it? Like Feet Finder or something? When people
Oh my
like,
God.
like people like the feet. Maybe there's like one for shoes.
Finder.
Feet Finder.
Yes.
Shoes.com.
And if
Pay
there's
extra
not
to
an
find
app-
out what's able to tolerate these shoes.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. But yeah,
I'm so glad you opened that door, because I just think that's such a cool highlighting of being a salesperson and being creative and having the intuitive thought process around how to open doors. A big reason why I personally obsess with the things that we're doing now, where we do things for our loan officers and our partners, and we take care of so much that's mandatory, is not only to make the activities happen and create the leverage, but it's to create brain space for people to be authentic, genuine, and get creative in other areas, because the other stuff's getting done, right? Like, you know how it is, like there's that scale tipping. If I haven't done all these things I know I need to do, it's hard to get creative into the next level. But once you're already executing all the important things, now you get to get creative. Like you can think about a specific niche that you have. Like, I mean, I'm sure, like, to me, when I hear you talk about what your daughter's doing, there's a niche in that community that is 100% there for you for the taking. And, you know, everyone has their own niche within their own world. I mean, the reason I started, you know, the Triple J Sports podcast and really is I realized for 20 years, I'd really never overlapped my athletic and sports background with my mortgage and business career. I had just kind of like one or the other, but you know, there's overlap. And so I think that's as good of an example. And I love how just not just confident, but how cool it is to hear you share that.
Hey, you got to get creative to get some business. When business is slow, you learn to get real creative.
Epic. It makes me want to be like anybody who's too embarrassed to get on and just record a video. Like, it's just like, look at some of the things people are doing and how they're working. So I got to ask you though, was there anything in the Tinder experience where you had somebody that was like way out of pocket, where you ended up like just having to leave, like where it was one of those crazy, or were they all really cool like that? Because there has to be, you know, from my end, at least there's a curiosity of like at some point somebody being like a crazy that you happen to stumble into.
I don't know about a crazy. I'm just really picky. So like if I did meet somebody on there to like I might have been interested in, I would meet somebody for like a drink or something. But yeah, I've probably walked into a few places and walked right out immediately.
Knocked it out immediately. Not someone that walked in and was like holding, you know, a giant cowboy, like oversized cowboy hat, like
no.
You know, Smurf boots and some weird thing where they're like into cosplay. I don't know, just like some crazy stuff.
If it was like work related, I would always have them meet me at my office.
At your office.
So they'd just come there, because then it was just like, we're business. We're doing business. I'm not here because I want to date you.
I want to date you.
I'm here because I want your loan.
It's so awesome.
But yeah,
you know, before we get out of here, I want to, you know, ask you this question: where do you see you're one of the top 1%, very successful, great business built? Where do you see the business going? You know, the rest of this year. You know, the next 5 years, what do you see is the next thing?
I think AI, people need to really focus on AI and really get that down really, really good. I just went to Newport Beach and I did I took the class. It was like a big seminar class with impact coaching, and Josh Altman was one of the speakers down there, and that was amazing. But they also had a couple that came all the way from the UK that taught AI, and I learned so much. And I think, you know, as we're older, we're not so into the technology and AI, and that's where if you're going to want to stand out, you've got to learn those types of technology and be really, really good at it. So that's what I'm really focusing on right now, is getting AI to really help my business. Like, they had me get on an app and I created a whole board of directors for my business that I didn't even know existed. Like, I didn't even know I could create a whole board of directors for my business. Just little things like that. So I think that developing those skills is going to help anybody's business going forward. Do I think rates are coming down? If that's what you're going to ask me, I don't think they're going to come down anytime soon, but maybe towards the end of the year. I think the bond market's doing great today.
It is.
We're having a good day today.
We're having a good day today.
When we came in, and
I
haven't looked at my phone yet.
There might have been a tweet that came out.
I have an 11 a.m. text that'll text me from MBS Highway that tells me what the bond market's doing.
Yeah.
So every 2 hours I get notified. So when I came in here, we were doing great so far. But, you know, it's been like this.
Yeah.
It's literally been like that.
Well, and I think one of the answers that puts you in an elite group is the idea that you got to get to know AI.
You got to get really.
We've had a lot of conversations on this podcast about the use of AI and where it's going, and I think you're very insightful because I do believe that the next 5 years is going to be all about AI and the use of it and how it's going to play in. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people that are worried that well, AI is going to take over everything.
No.
I think that what we've all had conversations is, yes, AI is definitely in a lot of industries is gonna put some people out of work, and it could put people in the mortgage industry out of work. But I think that what it's going to do is for those people that learn how to utilize it and harness those advantages, will then be able to lean even further into their personal relationships and expertise and being that advisor, and it's going to increase their business tenfold.
Absolutely. I think so too. That's, I mean, what I learned at the class that I took, I mean, I was like blown away. I was like, either I'm behind the times or this is stuff I don't even know that's going on. Like it was, I couldn't write enough notes. Like it was crazy what it could do.
I think the answer is probably both. Both is correct.
Yeah.
It's changing all the time.
A tremendous amount of
Well,
the
speak for yourself,
population.
you guys. I'm 39, so I just want.
And I'm 29.
Well, a tremendous amount of the population doesn't even know that this stuff is going on.
Right.
Well, and I think
But
I will
those that
just
do, we're already behind.
Yep. Well, and I think the one
You're
point
not
with it too is the opportunity. I've been looking at the data. It continues to trend very specifically, and I will hammer this home with anyone who kind of goes into the Eeyore or woe is me mode. Mm-hmm. The amount of volume available per loan officer that is active is more now today than it was in 2019, 2021, because so many people have exited the business that
Absolutely.
there is more. The problem is if you're not handling it like a pro, delivering value and competing, you're running into another pro like yourself and you're losing because you're not raising the bar of what you deliver to the customer. And the bifurcation of kind of the order taking, low compensation, just, hey, I'm put the order in, get it done, I don't need a consultation, I'm doing the loan, versus a true financial planner and advisor in that space is really what's kind of taking shape. And I think for a lot of loan officers, you're going to end up in one bucket or another through your inaction. You're going to end up down this road or wiped out. And if you're on top of it and driven, you're going to be one of those people who is so connected to your database, it's going to grow and grow, and you're going to grab more market share. And you're doing those things. And you know, I keep saying that because I think people allow themselves to say, well, the market's tough. It's like, well, yeah, if you know how many people have left the business,
Yeah.
there's more available to you than there was when you were crushing it in your mind.
Absolutely. And I always just say, don't listen to the noise.
Yeah.
Just do you.
Let that
Do you, boo?
Yeah,
That's right.
Let that negativity bounce right
Just
off you.
keep
Yep.
going, put your foot down, next thing. Well, you prove it. I mean, I think it's, I know we're getting close to getting out of here, but before Buzz does the mortgage minute, I want to just kind of ask you kind of on the final, having to reinvent yourself, adjust, be uncomfortable, and be successful. What's the thing? So you're successful and you do all these things, but there's got to be something, because we all have them, that for you is the thing that maybe is your least favorite or your least comfortable with, that you've had to discipline yourself to do in order to get where you want to go. And I always think it's good for people that are really successful to be able to share, hey,
Like what
I
keeps
had
you
this
motivated kind of thing.
Yeah, like I had this is a thing that I'm not comfortable with, or that I had to push through, because I think sometimes people act like, oh, you got to where you got because you have everything that you should have and you're built for it, versus like, no, you trained, worked, disciplined yourself, pushed yourself through your comfort zone. What things would you point to that maybe is that I had to really grow to become successful in this area because it wasn't, a strength, or it was something I was uncomfortable with?
I mean,
It's hard when you're perfect. I already know. I share that same plight, so I understand.
I mean, that's a hard one because there's so many things that I could improve on because nobody's perfect. We all, I
Absolutely.
need to do more on getting myself out of a file and delegating and trusting my team. But I'm such a control freak that's hard to do because I want to make sure everything is perfect and my client feels the system and process is perfect all the way through.
Sure.
So that's probably something that I really struggle with. The other thing that I really struggle with is I work too much, and I need to have a good balance in my life. That's probably my biggest one. Like I probably sometimes I'll work till like 1 a.m. and I don't even know what time it is. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get to bed. But it's like, gosh, I should have spent the evening with my kids instead of, but I get so excited when more deals come through. It's like, ooh, I want more. And then I end up working more, and it's having that balance. I really struggle with that. Like yesterday, I'm like, you know what? 4:00, let's jump in the pool. Let's just have a pool evening. And I didn't work last night, and it was weird. Like I'm usually at my computer working, and nope, I just stayed in the pool with the kids, and we had a good time that way. But I do struggle with that kind of thing. Like I want my hands in everything, and I need to delegate more. That's what I need to do. That's probably my biggest.
I was going to say,
weakness.
It doesn't sound like that you have a problem staying motivated to keep the hustle on. It sounds like you need the motivation to turn that hustle off a little bit.
A little bit, probably.
I love that though, because I appreciate you sharing it, because I think it makes it more relatable. I think what happens sometimes with successful people is the facade that it's like. I use the analogy going to the sports. Like people always talk about whether it's Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, like they always hit the game-winning shot. They're not paying attention to the fact that they were in there and they shot 10,000 of them to get there, or they missed 50 to get there. Like they're human and they had to battle through things. And I think the same thing happens with highly successful people in our industry. People that are aspiring look and think, well, they have it all together. And so hearing what those struggles are, I think is really human and relatable. And because what you just described, and I kind of knew you would say that because we've talked, right? That is a very common thing for the type A driven people, is delegation and control. Control leads to uncertainty on outcomes and delivering to the client. So that's hard to find the balance, and you got to build a team.
Because you think nobody can do it as good as you. So like you just got to do it.
And it's your tail. If it doesn't go right, you're the one who's got to answer for it, right?
Yeah.
And then the work, you're wired to always push. But, I share that same thing where it's like the present passes you by, but how do you find that balance? Like, and so I appreciate you sharing it because it's relatable. And I think everybody has something. And I think it's good even to have those top producers like yourself talk about that, because there are people who are striving to get where you are and they're dealing with that same struggle. So I appreciate you sharing that, because it's very true.
It's hard to, time block, and I'm not really good at time blocking either, because you want to, like, if somebody needs something, you need to fix it right then and there, and you don't time block for the things that are important and that you need to do. So that's probably another thing that I need help with as well. Like, there's always things that we can improve on, but those are my biggest things.
I mean, if we want to get really pitchy, happy to help you with that one. Let's just go. We can help with that. No. All jokes aside, super grateful to have you here today, Tara.
I know, it was super fun. I love just harassing Buzz. That's just like the highlight of my day.
See, that's even more reason you and me. That would be just every day.
When I saw her at my doorway earlier today, before
I snuck in his office.
She snuck in, and I heard that voice. I thought, what the hell? But it's so good to see you. Yeah,
you too.
Just real quick on the mortgage side, we're, believe it or not, we're actually going to end the week with a little bit better interest rates than what we started. It's been, we said it just a minute ago, it's been a yo-yo. And, in typical times, and I've said this before, usually what's bad for the economy is good for interest rates. What's good for the economy is usually bad for interest rates. Has to do with inflation and things like that. But, lately the technicals just don't match up. Like all week long, we've had all these conflicting employment and unemployment data, jobs data, conflicting information about one report will say, we've got more people going back to work, and then, oh no, we don't. So we've had all this conflicting information. Really what it has to do with, and I'm going to say this will be a little controversial. Today's rally is all about...
I know what you're going to say.
Am I going to say it?
Go ahead. No, go.
Today's rally is all about UFOs. Have you guys heard this?
No, actually, I didn't know that's what you were going to say.
I've heard, but you got to tell the audience here.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember, but back in February, there was a presidential, announcement. It's called Pursue. Look it up. And Trump has declared that he's going to start releasing all the UFO reports and studies and everything that the government has. Now, I haven't gotten to see a lot of them yet because we've been in this, but today is supposed to be the first dump of all of the government, secret UFO files. So who knows? By the time we get out of this episode today, there may be chaos in the streets because of the UFOs are out there. So
have you already had a conversation with Kurt when they out you for being an alien?
So I just want everybody to remember that we've been talking a lot about oil, but today I think it's
I thought
about
you were going to go to
UFOs.
oil. I thought you were going to go to oil. That's
Well,
fine.
it really is about oil and whether we're going to continue this war with Iran and the Strait of Hormuz, and there's been even that conflicting where there's been all sorts of stuff over there. But so I'm going to tell you that it's getting really hard to really figure out where
there's no
gonna
prediction.
go
Yeah,
because the old technicals just don't work. So I'm blaming it today on UFOs.
I like it.
And saying, great, if having UFOs is real, then and that helps us in the interest rate market, I'm okay with that. So here's the thing. Look for those reports today to see if there really is UFOs or not. It's called Pursue.
Join us on our next
Join us
podcast
on
where we prove that the world
and
is
then
flat.
when Buzz Shields strips the skin that he's been wearing for 40 years, and we see
Here, let me just
he
take this
planted-
mask off.
Watch this.
we are there. We won't do that. We won't do it to Tara now. She might want to write horrified by
That's the big.
Terry, come back to our next podcast where we talk about the lizard people that live under the Denver airport.
And it may be true. So today,
the reports might come out,
today
actually.
is the big day. They're going to be releasing these reports, so stay tuned. We may have already been visited by aliens.
I don't know.
Is that a way to end the episode?
Yeah, I already think we have. There's a lot of people I put in that I've met over the years that they're either alien or there's some really wrong anyway. So, perfect. Loved the episode. Appreciate you guys. Tara, thank you for not
Thanks for
only being
having
there.
me. Good to see you guys.
I think your Tinder story is now my personal favorite on the episode because I love it. It's the coolest, most creative way to get business.
Glad I could make you laugh.
Yes, I love it, and I'm so glad I teed you up and you just
Nailed it.
Nailed it. And congratulations on the success. Congratulations on being able to pivot, land. I'm not going to congratulate you on not already being here, but that's for a different conversation. But no, I'm really happy to see just how well you're doing, and
thank you.
Love our relationship. Looking forward to lunch on Monday.
Yes.
And when these clips come out and we tailor it, we might just create a non-released funny Tinder clip version that we'll use, and it'll just go around with us, but we won't put it out to the audience.
Hey, you might get lots of views on that one.
That might be our viral clip of the month.
Tinder might contact me and want me to,
we're trying
really
to
promote
Tinder
them.
as a sponsor off of this.
That's
That would
right.
be epic.
This episode
Sponsored by Tinder.
Sponsored by Tinder.
That might cause a lot of problems at home for all of us.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say.
Timmy, I'm just kidding.
It's all a joke. I promise,
Everyone's going to
babe.
start having Tinder
I
apps
swear.
on their phones.
Yep. So, well, thank you so much. It's been awesome. And guys, another wrap.
Yep.
Thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode of the Blitz Break. Hope you all enjoy your Friday. Once again, hit that subscribe button. Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, or all of our social media platforms. And we will be back here next Friday with another episode. I'm your host, Phil Rasmussen. We'll see you next week.